your eye like a big pizza.
This is different.
Will die. And if you don't have an abortion, you will die.
Those boys who are wearing their hair long are saying no to the mask industry.
The entirety of women's voting inside of the United States has been a complete unmitigated disaster. Unmitigated disaster which has led us to progressive policies, societal decay, a society which cannot reproduce itself, literally, can't even reproduce itself.
If it would be possible to make the men less aggressive, less competitive, less sure of themselves, that would be certainly something good. And
Jesus stood up here before us this afternoon and said, listen, I got two questions for you. Question number one, who do people say that I am? We'd have to tell him.
We'd have to tell him. We'd have to tell him, you know, Jesus, most people just want to reduce you to a nice guy.
You know?
Yeah, so I was wondering, I'm making sure I understand the prompt. I could be misunderstanding it. I need to learn that. So, do you mean like from a sexual perspective? Like
No.
No.
Yes and no. Yes and no. So, one, what I have observed every time I do this prompt is that the men always go to the second phrase and disregard the first phrase altogether.
Yeah.
The first phrase is the most important. It has nothing to do with schmecks. So when they come in and they say, oh, schmecks, that means that they're only looking at the second part and disregarding the first part, which in turn proves the point of the entire prompt. Men need to learn non-physical intimacy needs. If they refuse, they should not have physical access. Why should you have access? I asked this person earlier, why should you see a game, want to start a game, never start the game, but bitch that you didn't win?
I see what you're saying. So like you're from the perspective of like basically men need to understand that you need to feel taken care of in order to have that access, right? As a woman.
Intimacy just means a closeness, like bonding, just being close to someone. You know, like, so it doesn't necessarily, because you could take care of someone and not be close to them, you know.
Sure.
But sit down, please. But yeah, like, what do you do to solidify a bond with your partner that has nothing to do with schmexual access?
Well, I mean, obviously, because I do think that intimacy, like, I think sexual it kind of goes hand in hand, because typically what happens is when two partners are, you know, a man and woman, let's say, they're expressing their love for one another.
Intimacy is the most men who don't know how to regulate their emotions conflate intimacy with physical schmecks. Intimacy has nothing to do with schmecks. It is just simply a closeness. So because they consider schmecks to be the closest you can get with their bodies, they make it intimacy when that's not what it is. You can literally be closer to your homeboy mentally and emotionally than you will ever be to your woman.
Sure.
So that means you have a higher level of intimacy with your friend than you do your woman.
I see what you're saying.
More intimate. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
So it's like more of a soul tie is what you kind of are framing it as. Like, it's not even necessarily sexual, but
I'm not reframing. That is actually the definition of the
word.
word.
Yeah, like a close familiarity, friendship, closeness. It could mean like an intimate act, like sexual intercourse, but not limited to. Is what you're saying? No, it does
not. It doesn't have it in the definition at all whatsoever. It's not there.
Well, the euphemistic definition would be an intimate act, especially sexual intercourse.
No, it's actually not.
I'm looking at it right now, guys. I'm not limiting it to that, though.
what I'm saying is euphemisms are not definitions.
Oh, okay. I'm just looking at the euphemistic definition. I get it's a sub of definitions. It's not necessarily the definition, but I'm saying it's a definition.
A euphemism is similar to being synonymous. Just because a word is synonymous to another word doesn't mean that it exactly means the same thing. For example, racism and prejudice have similarities. They're synonymous. But the difference between racism and prejudice is power.
Yeah,
You see how that goes?
Yeah, like you feel prejudice towards someone, you could hold like an enmity or something towards them. But if you have racial prejudice towards somebody, then it's directed towards their race. Or if you're racist towards someone, you're placing your race higher than theirs. I get that.
Superiority is not listed in racism, and neither is prejudice. Superiority is not in either of them. For example, bigot, racist, and prejudice all mean the same shit.
Yeah, well, prejudice, discrimination. You could view yourself or your race that you're a part of higher than theirs. It could mean multiple things, but that's my whole. I'm not trying to get too tied up on like the definitions of things. I'm just because I know that words.
I get tied up on the definition because English isn't my first language. And it really pisses me off that people it's their first language don't even know the words and the meanings of their own first primary language. So that's why I get tied up on it. Because if you're having a conversation with the worldview of people and you're saying something based on your sentiment and not what it actually is defined as, that's where communication fails. Because that's not what it means. We have to go off of what it means.
Well, we change.
That's how you communicate.
Yeah, language in and of itself, language is just a social construct. Words change definition all the time. We do it.
Okay, hey man, let's stop there. Let's stop.
No. I really need you guys to be logical. Every single thing in the world is a social construct because a social construct is nothing more than the mechanism that helps run society. Again, people who speak English need to know what the fucking words mean. Everything is a social construct. Everything. How you put your pants on, whether or not you wear pants versus whether or not you wear skirts, whether or not you're allowed to wear a shirt in public places. Those are all fucking social constructs. All of it.
Well, is logic a social construct?
Yes, logic is also a social construct.
Okay, quick question. This doesn't have to get contentious. Just want a quick question. If logic is a social construct, I want you to tell me how logic is a social construct and disprove logic without using the laws of logic.
Sir, if you don't get the fuck out of my stream with your stupid shit.
Well, you can. If it's a social construct, it should be easy.
Let me tell you something. Philosophy has no logic. And you want me to philosophically disprove logic philosophically. You already did it with the question. You literally philosophically did what you asked me that you wanted me to do philosophically. That's how you break down logic without using logic.
Can you demonstrate that? Logic. How so?
You already did it. You already just did it.
It would explain it to me.
You literally just did it. I'm not going to explain your actions to you. You know them.
So, if logic is a social construct, you should be able to break it down and demonstrate why without using the laws of logic.
Did it.
I have not done that.
You already did it.
I would have done it, but it's impossible.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
It's impossible to do because...
Yes, you have. You have done it. You've literally done it. No. Stop coming off of mute before I drop you. You literally did it. The only way to deconstruct logic without the laws of logic is to use philosophy. That would be the only way. You literally did it. By posing the question, that was a philosophical question. So you literally did it.
You would have to use logic in using philosophy to deconstruct the laws of logic.
No, philosophy is without logic.
No, it's not.
Philosophy is without logic.
No, it's not,
Yes,
man.
it is.
Nope.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Philosophy are guesses.
What a freaking idiot.
Educated guesses.
She dropped me. She kicked me because she
no
can't
logic.
have any discussion. She's combative out the gate.
It's a social construct.
Idiot.
It literally is a social construct.
Idiots.
Because you have to construct the rule of logic. There wouldn't be any rule
by using logic.
Of logic.
By using
if it
logic.
wasn't a social construct.
No, by using
What is
logic.
up with these fedora wearing men coming up here thinking my IQ's so much higher.
I mean,
I'm just gonna out logic.
I don't know. It looks like the fruits of it show that my IQ may be higher than hers, but I'm not passing any judgment.
Philosophy.